Welcome to You Can Call Me Goddess because you're so much more than a queen. My name is Manuk Vink. I am a trained intuitive energy healer specialized in transforming your body and your life. In this podcast, we are going to be diving into everything to unlock the goddess that you are within you. Think of it as the ultimate glow up from the inside out. It's time to unlock your power. It's time to unlock your magic. So sit back and enjoy the show. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another You Can Call Me Goddess podcast. In today's podcast, I am going to be talking about something from a perspective that maybe you've never heard before, and hopefully it's going to alleviate maybe some of the pressure that you may have been feeling, because I am not the only one that has been feeling not only pressure lately around in the universe right now at this moment in time, but also there's been this kind of chaotic energy. I don't know if you guys have been feeling that, but at least I've spoken to many more people who've been feeling like, I don't know what's going on right now, but it all feels a little wacky, and you're not alone in that. And today I am hopefully going to give you a little more peace of mind as to why that is happening and why maybe everything feels like, when it rains, it pours. All of that is happening. Now, there is obviously a lot of reflective components to everything that is happening. And for those of you who are not familiar with reflections yet, I do advise try to listen to some of the podcasts where I dive into reflections and reflective components. I talk a lot about it when it comes to the body, situations and circumstances, and you will start to understand what that is all about. And actually, this Friday, we are going to do a webinar on understanding reflections and being able to overcome them. So if you want to have a deeper dive into reflections, how they happen, what they mean, how you can overcome them, and why that's important, then come join the weekly webinar inside the free membership, and you will have a deeper understanding of how all of that works, because understanding reflections has been one of the most life-changing things in my life, because basically reflections are reflecting back to you what is happening subconsciously and what has been holding things in place, or why it has been difficult for you to shift out of certain situations and circumstances. Reflections are basically the universe reflecting back at you where you have been feeling stuck and where you have been experiencing blocks in your life through situations, circumstances, and relationships, your pets, all kinds of things. And when you start understanding how reflections really work, you basically get the code, the hack to how you can start transforming your life and speeding up the things that you are wanting to create in your life, because reflections are literally telling you where your block is and what you need to start shifting. And believe you me, this is an ongoing process. And the more you start learning about reflections, the more you start realizing how intricate this is. And what I'm discussing in these podcasts is only a small percentage of what you are capable of understanding when it comes to reflections. The body is one whole component of how reflections work. Speaking of, I have been going through my own body reflections, and the last few weeks have been very intense. If you remember, I think about two or three podcasts ago, maybe it's 3 podcasts ago, I mentioned that I got my birth control removed after more than 15 years. And I know it's really crazy, but I felt the pull and I was like, you know what? Now I'm ready. I'm going to get my birth control removed. I got that verified because it is a process. My body has to recalibrate, has to readjust to life without birth control and how that all works, my whole system. So my body has been a big reflection, but it hasn't even been mainly my body. It has been my mood. So my mood has been like a roller coaster at the moment. It's been going up and then crashing down. And I am a very positive person, super positive, literally always trying to see the positive in things. And I can see the balance in a lot of stuff. But lately when I'm low, I've been really, really low. And it's been a lot harder for me to get out of those lows. And I know that is me and my hormones recalibrating, but there's obviously a reflective component to it. So the reflective component of hormonal imbalance is an imbalance between masculine and feminine energy, or an imbalance across 8 areas of your life. So for those of you who don't know the 8 areas of life, I will mention them to you today. We've got the family area of life, the financial area of life, the vocation area of life, we've got the financial area of life, the physical area of life, spiritual area of life, the mental area of life, and passion hobby area of life, and social area. I think I said financial maybe twice, and social area of life. So we've got 8 areas of life. And what most of us have not been taught is that when we are experiencing reflections, or when things are tough in a certain area of life, that could come from an imbalance in one of the 8 areas of life. The majority of us have only been focusing on maybe 5 areas of life. So relationship, family, body, financial, and career, right? Those are the ones that I feel like I've missed areas of life. I feel like I've misspoken about them. Wait, let me relist them. Vocation, family, financial, spiritual, mental, physical, passion, hobby, and social. Have I said them all now? Let me know if I missed any of them, but I should have listed them all at this point. So those are the 8 areas of life, and we only focus a lot of the time on 5, which leaves a whole nother 3 areas of life that we are missing. And so what happens when this happens is that we often laser focus on these 5 areas of life, and we totally neglect the other 3 areas of life, which causes an imbalance, and that causes us to be blocked in certain areas. Now, when you understand how the creator field works, you understand that it's dictated by your subconscious mind. So subconscious limiting belief systems. Now, your creator field does not discriminate between where those belief systems are coming from. So if I'm feeling a lack of confidence in my passion hobby area of life, then that could have an effect on my financial area of life, because now when people are trying to invest in what I'm trying to create, but they read in my creator field that I have a lack in confidence of what I can create or what I can do, the creator field does not discriminate between whether that is in the passion hobby area of life or in my financial or career area of life. So people will just pick up on my energy saying, I don't know if I'm capable of creating this. I don't know if I'm good enough at this. And it doesn't matter what area of life that is in. And that is why we want to make sure that we are looking at all 8 areas of life. Now, back to the hormonal imbalances. Every physical symptom that you are experiencing in the body comes from an energetic or emotional imbalance, and your body is reflecting to you where that imbalance is coming from. Situations, circumstances are reflecting to you where that imbalance is coming from. So a hormonal imbalance often has to do with a feminine and masculine imbalance, or an imbalance across all 8 areas of life. So when we're talking about feminine and masculine energy, it's like you're too much in your masculine or too much in your feminine energy, and that is causing this imbalance. The same with the 8 areas of life. You're too focused on some of the areas of life and you're unbalanced in the other areas of life, and that's going to cause a hormonal imbalance, hormonal issues. It's the imbalance across these areas. So that's obviously what has been amplifying my mood swings and my hormonal imbalances, trying to recalibrate. It's coming from me focusing on some areas, being maybe too much in my masculine energy, having to balance all of that out. So now that you understand that, it is going to help you identify every single time you're feeling imbalanced or anything like that. Go through those areas or check out where you're too much in your feminine or too much in your masculine. And that's something that I've definitely been working on, but it can be difficult, especially when, you are hormonal and you're trying to figure this out. So what I wanted to talk about today is when everything just feels too much and you don't know where to look at anymore or what step to take. It can be extremely overwhelming, and then you don't know what to do next. Like you're just sometimes in like this weird energy where you just can't seem to get out of it. And what this can sometimes mean is that sometimes you need to give yourself a little bit of a break, or you need to take it from a different perspective. What I've been looking into a lot, because it has been feeling a little bit stagnant in some areas of my life, and I have been trying to figure out intuitively, looking at the reflections. I've been having so many reflections where this is coming up. Like my wrist started hurting earlier, which has to do with me not being able to use my tools. And now, literally the other day, I traveled to my sister's birthday. My sister, she lives she lives in the Netherlands. So I went to go visit her there with my family for her birthday. On my way to the airport, I have a Whoop. I've literally had that Whoop for 5 years. I use it. It's like a fitness tracker. For those of you who don't know it, it's amazing. I love it. Tracks my sleep, tracks my workouts, tracks my steps, tracks all of this stuff. And it also tracks my recovery. And I'm planning to use it also to start tracking my cycle in combination with diving deeper into the cycle and how it all works, because this is a whole new process that I'm going into after so many years of actually not being in tune with my body. And I want to go on a whole nother spiel and maybe invite someone on the podcast to talk a little bit more on that, because we have been so misguided when it comes to our body, understanding our cycle. And basically, like, I am big on the disconnect from the body, because the body is so important. And having birth control, I mean, it's for some people, obviously, I mean, I had it for the longest time, but figuring this out now, I really understand that it's just disconnecting us from our power again in so many ways. Like, it has so many influences on the body. So this is going to be a whole journey, and I'm actually very excited to embark on it, even though the emotional side effects and the imbalances have been tough. But I know it's going to be worth it in the end, like everything else. Story of my life, but story of everybody's life who decides to embark on the journey that is called going down the soul path, soul pull life journey. It is going to be worth it in the end, always. But it doesn't mean that it's going to be easy. I totally lost my train of thought where I was going. Oh yeah, I had my Whoop. So I was at the airport and I was not paying attention because I tried to skip I skipped the scanner, and I was grabbing all my things. And you're like, you have your belt that you have to take off. I had to take off my shoes. I had to take off all of the stuff, my jacket, all of that, and my Whoop. And so I found out when I land in the Netherlands that, because I have like, if you can, well, I don't know if I'm going to share the video, but if you were to see me on my video, I have like this aggressive tan line for my Whoop because I've been wearing it for so many years. And I'm like, oh my goodness, where is my Whoop? And I realized I left it at security, and I was so annoyed, so upset about it. And I was like, oh no, and I don't want to buy a replacement. It's such a hassle because deliveries where I live it's a whole thing. And I would need to ship it to the Netherlands, and those take quite a while. And it was just a whole thing. So I was annoyed. But anyways, looking into the reflection, I looked in later on because I went on a run in the Netherlands as well. And the weather was absolutely terrible. It was raining. My lip literally turned blue. I was so cold, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to go for this run. So I went on the run, and I'm having reflections with my phone as well. Storage too full. Like, I'm trying to, there's so many things going on there. So, but I had my music. I didn't have my Whoop, but I have my Strava. So I could at least track my run. What happens? The rain pours onto my phone. My phone has been spazzing out, and it stops tracking. The music stops, everything stops. I try to restart the phone. It doesn't work. I am cold, I'm wet from the rain, and my phone is shutting down. I have no Whoop to track it. I was like, oh my goodness, it's terrible. So anyways, I finished my run. I was like, suck it up, Manuke, just finish your run. It's going to be fine. You don't need to track it to see that you're doing the thing. And I sat with it. I was like, okay, what is going on with this reflection? And I was like, okay, this is so clear, because clearly I am having a reflection when it comes to being able to track my progress, because that's what it's coming down to. Because my phone is fine now. It stopped then, so I couldn't track the progress that I was making. So I was having a reflection in regards to having the tools to track my progress. Now, I have so many tools that I use to track progress. I look at a lot of things, but I've been feeling like, I don't want I can't be bothered with any of it right now. I don't want to look at it. It's not working. I felt like nothing was working. I didn't want to look at the tools because it's just not working in the way that I want it to work. And that's what I was basically getting the reflection of. I wasn't seeing where I was making progress because I was also refusing to look at it, because for me, it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. So I've been trying to connect, and I've been trying to look at, okay, what is the thing that is blocking what I want to create right now? Like, why is it feeling so tough right now? Why is everything feeling tough? Why are my emotions so low? Like, what is going on? Obviously hormonal imbalance, but it's a reflection. So what is going on? Every time I looked in, it was expansion. I keep getting expansion, expansion, expansion. So even today, I was like, okay, what can I do? Expand. What does that mean? What do you mean by expansion? So that's the intuitive input that I keep getting. And I was like, okay, there are so many things that you can do with expansion, right? Like, do I have to expand my network? Do I need to expand the people that I reach? Do I need to expand my knowledge? All of this stuff. And then it clicked for me again. And there was a situation where I'm like trying to figure out another reflection when it comes to business. And so I started looking in and I was like, you know what? I know what's going on. And things started clicking into place after having some conversations, after sitting with it for a while, after looking into what has been holding things in place. There is a skill set that I am needing to hone in on and expand on. So where I'm going with this and why this is important for you, no matter where you are, in what stage, with whatever you are trying to create. Sometimes what we end up doing is we look into our business, career, relationship, financial situation, and this has been coming up actually with multiple people that I've been speaking to, that we are so focused on one avenue, and we keep trying the same thing over and over and over again, and it's not working. And even if you have a successful business, so I was asked the other day, so what is this? Like, what do you do when you have like you're wanting to create and you have a successful business, but things just end up stopping or you don't know what next avenue to look into or all of that stuff. So what happens in these situations? A lot of the time we take the lack of expansion in our business, right? Or the lack of expansion in a relationship or a financial situation or whatever area of life. So lack of growth or progress in the body, same thing. When we see a lack of progress or lack of expansion and we feel like everything is going to shit, I'm just going to say it. We feel like everything is going to shit. We want to throw in the towel. So we want to quit. There's this thing where like literally you throw your hands in the air and you're just like, you know what, I'm done. I'm over it. I'm so done right now because I could bang my head against the wall because I don't know what else to do anymore. That was where my reflection was coming from with the lack of tools because I was like, you know what, I could use them, but it's not working. So I had this thing in my mind, nothing's working. Everything's just not working, basically. And that's when you go into this doubt mindset. And it's really hard because when you get into this doubt mindset, you start spiraling over that. Now you're worried that it's affecting your creative field and it becomes this whole thing. If you're there with me, if you've been there, I feel you. I know what this feels like. But what is actually going on here and what we've been misguided to believe is that sometimes we've been told from the spiritual world or even from the physical normal muggle world that when things are blocking up, it means maybe we need to quit, right? Maybe it's not for us. So when you think of a relationship, for example, things are getting tough and nothing's working out, so I'll leave. When we're thinking of a business, oh, this is not working anymore, so we quit, we stop, we throw the towel in. And that is the worst thing that you can do most of the time. Because what's actually happening here is that the universe is letting you know you need to start expanding. And what I mean by this is that it isn't necessarily sometimes, but that's where we can use intuition, right? Because sometimes we need to look in intuitively if that is the right decision. But 9 out of 10 times, you're not meant to leave the job. You're not meant to leave the relationship. You're not meant to quit your career. You're not meant to maybe change things up, but you're not meant to change anything drastically or quit when it comes to getting progress, when it comes to your workouts or anything like that. It just means you're missing a component of knowledge. You're missing a skill set. You're missing a component to get things moving forward again. Why the universe does this, why your higher self designs it like this, is because if, for example, you were going on, and let's just take the business, right? You're trying to create a successful business and you're trying to move forward and you keep doing the same thing over and over again. And then suddenly what happens, you hit a plateau. When we hit that plateau, we think maybe this is not for us, or when things come crashing down. So suddenly your clients drop away, people don't want to work with you anymore. You feel like your business is failing, but that couldn't be further from the truth. What is actually happening here is that you are being made aware of the fact that you need to expand. There is something new for you to look into. So that could be a new offer. That could be a new setup or structure. That could be a new skill set that you need to hone in on. And why this happens is because if, for example, if something drastic doesn't happen in your business or in, say, the relationship, we settle, we stay, we're fine where we are, and we don't expand beyond what we are capable of. So we kind of just stay where we are, and this actually blocks us from accessing what is really, really, truly meant for us. So something drastic needs to happen for us to reflect and look at, okay, what do we need to shift? But unfortunately, the majority of us exit. So we quit instead of looking at what needs to really shift and happen. And this is where it can be damaging, because what the consequence of that could be is that you quit right when you're actually about to have a breakthrough. And all you needed to know was that you needed to expand one understanding. Now, what ends up happening a lot of the time, either someone enters a new relationship, or let's take the business, you start a new business, and you're going to run into the exact same problem because you didn't figure out the issue in your previous relationship or business. And that's where we keep running into the same problem over and over and over and over again, until we realize we don't need to switch careers, or we don't need to switch the business, or we don't need to switch our relationships. We need to look in where the block is. What am I missing? What is the key component that I am missing to be able to access the amounts of success that I desire? And why this is incredibly important is because without that skill set, you will only be able to reach a certain amount of success, and then either things will come crashing down, or that missing component to being able to achieve the results that you desire is going to cause you to blow up the business, basically. I couldn't think of the right wording, but basically for it to come crashing down. This is why a lot of people only reach a certain amount of success, because we have not been taught to look beyond and take a bigger view, bigger picture, bird's eye view, and look at each and every, really precisely look at each and every component of what is happening in your career, to look at, okay, where is the block? Where is the disconnect from me actually getting the thing that I want to create? We really quickly end up quitting altogether. And then what happens is you just end up in the same cycle, maybe a couple of years later, in a different business or a different career. And this is why this is going to help you understand this on another level. If you are listening to this podcast, you've probably been drawn to this podcast for this exact reason, because this is going to help you no matter what area of life or you are trying to expand or focus on. Instead of actually blowing up whatever situation you are in right now and exiting, this is actually maybe a situation where you are burning the ships. You're in a burning the ships situation, in a situation where everything comes crashing down and you have no other option but to find a way forward in where you are right now. And when we get to that point, we have to access a zone of genius. And if you are willing enough and you are dedicated enough and your soul knows that this is the thing that you're meant to be doing, or this is the person you're meant to be with, or plug in whatever thing that you're trying to work on, then this is your opportunity to prove to the universe that you are not going to quit. You are not going to exit. You're not going to try to maneuver into a different avenue. It is time to go through the trenches and face what it is that is actually blocking you. Why this is going to help you is because when you nail that one thing, that skill set that maybe you're missing, that understanding that maybe you're missing, that expansion that you need to have right now, and you are willing to go through the hard bit, go through the fight or flight and be uncomfortable for maybe another few months in order to get to the other end of it, you are going to be very much rewarded for it, because now you are going to have a skill set in your pocket that whenever you're in a similar situation, you will now have the tools in your toolbox to be able to shift whatever it is that you are trying to shift. Without the obstacle, without being in a place where you don't know what next step to take, you wouldn't have been able to access that understanding. It's like, I don't know, I want to use a reference from one of my books. I've been definitely going into the fantasy series, but there's a character in my book. It's in the Court of Thorns and Roses, which I just finished. I'm not much of a I wasn't much of a reader, unless I guess it's romantasy fantasy, but it's that's kind of what's coming to mind. There is like a scene with one of the main characters, and she's been put in a challenge. And for those of you who've read the book, know what I'm talking about. She's literally in the trenches in that challenge, and there's no other way out for her. So she has to tap into a zone of genius to be able to think, okay, what is a thing that I'm not thinking about, to be able to move out of this situation. Now, in this situation, it's going to sound insane, but she's being hunted down by a giant flesh-eating worm. And she had to tap really quickly into a zone of genius to get out of that situation that she was in, to make it out of it, because she was in a life or death situation. Now, even though we are not experiencing maybe the life or death in real life, like we're not being hunted down by a giant worm that's trying to eat us, we still fight or flight. Our system registers our situation as a fight or flight situation. And we feel like it's life or death, right? When something is about to end, or we are not getting successful in the thing that we've been working so hard on, we feel like life or death, like I'm not going to make it. I don't know what to do. We shoot into fight or flight, and we either panic. Now, in a situation where you're being hunted by a giant worm with lots of teeth that's trying to eat you, if you shut down, you die. So you have to tap into that zone of genius. So now think of that. What is the zone of genius? What is the area? What is the route that you are not thinking of? And then this is the crazy part. So I actually love this analogy, because even if there's only one avenue forward, within that avenue forward, what can you do to tap into new zones of genius? So in this situation, she decided to cover herself with mud, and it's a whole story. So she tapped into a zone of genius to be able to make it out alive that wasn't looking at a different path. It was on the same path, but what was she capable of doing on that same path? Now, the same applies here. With me, I am figuring out there is a skill set that I need to expand. Now, without that skill set, if I don't get that skill set right now and I access the amount of success that I am desiring to access, it is going to block me eventually. And then I have so much more to lose than if I were to do it now. When you think of, for example, you're in a relationship and right now you're still at a stage where you can handle things emotionally, and it's easier to shift through your tools and your understandings and your skill sets. And without it being too high stakes, it's a lot easier to handle, even though it still feels tough, than, for example, if you're married with kids and now you have to figure out what this block is that you're experiencing, and that could lead to divorce. So the stakes are a lot higher. It's the same thing with me, like at the moment, which all of you will find out when I'm done transferring the whole thing, I am resetting up the website for my business. Now, if I would have waited multiple years to do that, it would be a lot harder to transfer, because, for example, I reach this amount of success. I have so many more people that are working with me, and now I need to transfer out a lot more people to a new system. It's going to be a lot harder than if you do it when it's still manageable. So look at the situation that you're in. Look at it as a playground. Right now, you have the freedom to play around and figure out what is the puzzle piece that you are missing. And when you trust in that and you actually look at that, you are going to have so much more out of that situation than if you wait too long and you either take a new avenue, you quit, and then you have to reestablish this whole thing. And you're probably going to end up in the exact same position because you didn't decide that there was more to expand on. And this is hard. I'm not saying that it's easy. I'm talking about it like, oh my God, but it's not easy because your emotions are going to get involved. Your human self is going to try and be like, I can't do this anymore. And you are going to have to be your own cheerleader in this situation and realize that there is more that you're capable of. And sometimes that can be hard, and you're allowed to give yourself some grace, because believe me, I have had to really rack my brain for what it is that I need to shift, especially for those of you who are going to change so many lives. And if you're listening to this, you are meant to be changing so many lives. So for those of you with high consciousness, high frequency, that are going to change a lot of lives, it isn't always going to be easy because you're destined for so much that you're going to have to figure out every little thing that could be holding you back so that you can eventually help other people do that too. And it's also kind of earning the right that you are so trusting in the path that you're taking and in the capabilities that you have, that no matter what, you are going to keep going. And sometimes that means you're going to have to wait a little bit longer for the reward. The other day, I was also speaking to someone about this one YouTuber that literally was going on YouTube, streaming live for 3 years straight with only 10 people, like in the beginning, 0 people, then 10 people following him. And this is something that I've heard one of the other people that I've listened to on a podcast talk about. It's called like the bamboo theory. It's like the roots of the bamboo, I think, I'm going to butcher this because I feel like I forgot how many years, but grow underground for about 8 years before they sprout out. So you could be establishing so much growth underground. You're just not seeing it. And then right before it's about to sprout, you might be jumping ship when all you needed was this one extra skill set or this one connection that you needed to make that is going to allow your thing to come to fruition, for your bamboo tree to sprout. So this person as well, he kept going because he believed in what he could create. And one day it took one person that hyped up or took a clip of whatever he was doing that went viral, and now he's super successful. Now, most people quit right before that's about to happen. Not only that, most people then achieve that success but don't energetically have the tools to hold on to that success because, again, we've never been taught how to actually hold on to the success. What is holding us back when it comes to the creator field, with the reflections, with all of this stuff. And this is why whenever you're in a situation where things feel like they're blocking, where things feel like there's no flow, there's no movement, and you don't know what to do, and maybe there was lots of movement before and now it stopped, it is a sign there is something new that you need to look at that you are missing. And it's actually a favor that you're getting from your higher self in the universe, because they are letting you know, stop now, look at what you can expand on, so that you can expand the pool of people that you can tap into, so that you can expand the knowledge that you have, so that then you can tap into more abundance, so that then you can access more success. If you were to continue on the same route, you might limit yourself in what you would be able to create. If you were missing that one skill set, you might only access 20% of the wealth that you can create. But when you decide that you are going to look at that one skill set that you are missing, that's going to open up 100% of what you can create financially, that is where things really start to burst open and open up. But that means you have to trust enough and you have to keep moving forward even when it is tough, and just believe that there is something else to look at. Now, this is where, the manifestation world gets it wrong a lot of the time, or at least they're missing that information. It's when it's hard, right, then it's not meant for you. That is one of the things that is incorrect. When it's hard, a lot of the time it is meant for you. It's often the harder route that is going to get you what you desire most. Now, the second thing is that I totally lost my train of thought. The second thing is that when you are trying to expand and when you feel like that's not the route, we have to look at a different avenue. When in reality, this is actually showing you there is more for you to expand on. So this isn't you blocking the manifestation necessarily. It is letting you know that to access the manifestation that you are trying to create, there is more information, knowledge that you need to tap into. There's more information and knowledge that you are missing. Now, obviously, it is a lot more helpful when you can use your intuition to access this. So you could literally ask intuitively, is it a skill set? Is it a pool of people that I need to access? Is it a piece of knowledge that I'm missing? Is it a new offer that I need to create? And you can, again, apply this with your relationship or with your body. Like sometimes we will be doing the same thing over and over again when it comes to our fitness. And I spoke about that in the previous podcast, actually, that you'll keep doing the same thing over and over again and you're not getting the results. And you start thinking, oh, I don't know what else to do now. But maybe it wasn't something that you needed to change in your fitness, but it was something that you needed to change with the nutrition that you were eating. And maybe it was one small thing that you needed to shift or change, but you wouldn't have figured that out. Or maybe you needed to look at a different avenue to understand the body on a deeper level, like the energetics of the body, right? And the same thing with relationships. Maybe there's a lesson to overcome here. And if you don't figure it out, you're never going to be able to access that amount of success in a relationship until you learn that lesson. And most people go and they exit and they run for the hills because it gets too hard and we can't figure it out. And we haven't been taught to look deeper into certain areas. We focus on the things that we see in front of us and we don't expand on what we can do on the path that we are given right now. What is the thing that we can do on this path right now? It doesn't mean that you are a failure or that it's not meant for you. It just means there is one thing or two things. And again, you can get more specific on that when you use your intuition that you are missing to access the success that you desire. Literally, another thing that's actually coming to mind, I was speaking to one of my members about this, about, shifting career and wanting to look at a different career because they're unhappy in the career that they are in right now or in the business that they're working right now. And I've experienced this so many times that you change career, you change the job that you work at, and you encounter the same obstacles at that job. Why you're encountering the same obstacles is because there is something to learn there. And every time we try to avoid or we try to dodge the obstacle that we are experiencing there, we're just delaying the process. So now, instead of getting to your goal in 3 months from now, you've extended it to a year because you keep changing the environment that you're in instead of changing the internal battle that you need to overcome or the skill set that you need to gain to overcome that internal battle. That is where we often have been misguided. And that is why sometimes it feels so hard to get out of a cycle that you are stuck in because you are missing the information to get to the component that is going to actually move things forward to you. And this can be tough, especially without intuition, because sometimes we can't get out of our own head and our ego loves to just show us the things that we know about instead of going down a route that feels uncomfortable. But unfortunately, even though the ego's job is to keep us safe and keep us feeling comfortable, if you are ready to tap into success that is meant for you, that means we need to bypass that ego. We need to look at the deeper root of what is actually holding things in place. And for that, we need to find out and connect and see what is the skill set that I'm missing. What is the idea or creativity that I'm missing? Maybe I need to go to a location that I've never been to before. Maybe I need to, instead of trying to get clients right now or create success right now, I need to expand my pool of knowledge. Because without expanding your pool of knowledge, there might be a lack of people that you can tap into or access. And there might be a lack of success that you can unlock in your life. Now, if you're like me and you want to go for gold, then that means you need to probably expand your pools, expand your understanding. So if you feel like things are feeling tough and you can't create more in the area that you are in, it is a sign that there is something that you need to expand on. There is a piece of the puzzle that you are missing, that once you start honing in on that piece of the puzzle, you unlock a new level. So don't quit just yet. Don't quit just yet. Don't panic. It's not a sign that it's not meant for you. It's not a sign that you're a failure. It is not a sign that you're not good enough. It is a sign that there is just something else that you are missing that you need to expand on. And once you do, now you'll have the ingredients, the pieces to the puzzle for life. And that is so much more valuable than reaching that instant success right now, because with that skill set that you have for life, you can access and use that in all areas. Now, when things feel like they're breaking down or you don't know what next step to take, you have this skill set to use, because you can be like, oh, I recognize this pattern. I know what's happening here. This is what I need to plug in. And this is what is going to allow you to create so much more success than you ever imagined. But that means you have to not give up on yourself just yet. That means that when the going gets tough, you don't exit, you don't leave. You keep going. You trust that there is more out there for you and you can access more. And you use that genius brain of yours, that genius intuition of yours, to be able to look into what it is that could be holding you back. Now, when you start having a mastery over reflections, intuition, all of this stuff that I coach on in programs that we talk about in the webinars, which you can join inside the free membership. You can join the weekly webinars. We dive into these topics. You can ask me questions around this and I can intuitively look in on what the block is. When you start understanding this and developing this on a higher level, it is going to become clearer, because it all basically becomes pieces of a puzzle. It becomes very clear what is happening. Your reflections will let you know what it is that is holding things in place. Like literally, with me and my sourdough journey, I've spoken about it before, it is literally letting me know you're so close. There's just one tweak that you need to make. And as soon as you tweak that tweak, that's it. You're going to create success. Everything is interlinked. And when you start understanding the communications of the universe, you start using your intuition to identify what the universe is actually communicating to you and what it means and what shifts you need to make. And you start playing around with these ingredients and with these tools, and you start seeing how making this one little shift changes everything. That is when you actually get a formula to the success that you desire. Now you can replicate it. Without the formula, the people that hit success overnight, or they just hit success, but they don't know how they got there. Now, if their business crashes down or their relationship crashes down or whatever crashes down, you don't have a formula anymore. You don't know how to plug and play. I remember when I first started my fitness journey and I was like, there's no way. When I first started out, I had a lot of like insecurities about my legs. And I remember telling my friends, there's no way that I'm ever going to wear a size small. Like, it's not possible. Like, it's not for me. There's no way like that would be a miracle. Well, I even got to extra small when I competed in my bodybuilding competition back in the days when I did that. And I remember why I was feeling so confident, because I felt like now I had achieved something and I knew exactly what I did to achieve that result so that I could replicate it. So it gave me this lack of pressure, because beforehand I was like, just, how do you say that? Like in the dark. I was just trying random things and there was no formula to it. I was trying random things and I wasn't getting results, and I was getting frustrated because why are these random things not working? Because I didn't have a formula to how I was going to achieve the result that I desired by doing step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, all the way to step 10 to access the results that I desire. Now, this is when you are meant for more and you want to access success all the time, which I know you are all capable of. Otherwise, you wouldn't be listening to this podcast. You are going to be tested on this, and you're going to be so happy eventually, maybe not now, but eventually, that you went through the hard bit, because now you're going to have a step 1 to 10 formula to be being able to create your success 100% of the time instead of 80 or even 90% of the time or even 50% of the time. So now, whenever you are feeling stuck or things break down, you know that there is a step that you need to implement to access that 100%. Ask a lot of people who have achieved real success, and the majority of them, maybe not all, the ones that know how to replicate it will have a formula of how they got there. The ones that maybe were overnight, which is not actually a real thing, overnight success, will not be able to replicate it, and they will not be able to hold on to that wealth or that growth because they don't have a step-by-step process. And that is what the difference is here. So before you quit whatever you're trying to create because it feels too hard, understand that this is you being taught by your higher self, by your universe, that you need to look at the steps that you need to take to unlock the amount of success that is meant for you in whatever area of life. And the more you start focusing on what step am I missing, what changes do I need to make to create that step or access that step or be able to unlock that step, and now write down your step-by-step process of how you got from A to B to Z, you are going to have a formula that is going to work 100% of the time. And even though it sucks right now, eventually you're going to be so happy that you have that formula, because had you not had that formula, you achieved the amount of success that you desire and everything came crashing down, you wouldn't know the first thing about how to put it back together. Maybe step 1, but you would be stuck maybe at step 5. And then you would have wished that you learned which steps got you where, and you would have been so happy had you had those steps. This is your opportunity to get the steps before you access the success that is meant for you, so that it's going to save you when or if you ever feel like things come crashing down. And because of the law of preparedness, because you're going to be prepared with the steps that you have in hand, you probably won't even have to have that happen to you. And you're just going to be prepared in general. So don't feel like things aren't meant for you. They 100% are. And this is just a sign that there is more for you to look into, to explore. It is maybe not the time right now to access the success that is meant for you, but it will happen eventually. You just need to explore what pools you need to expand, what skill sets you need to expand, and what it is that is missing for you to be able to access and unlock the amount of success that is meant for you right now. Anyways, I hope this was helpful for you, today's podcast. If you have any questions, if you want to dive deeper into any of these topics, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm always happy to help and guide you in the right direction of what will help you expand more, or what puzzle piece didn't land or didn't make sense for you. Also, that is why we have the webinars, weekly webinars, to come in, ask your questions, dive deeper into certain topics. So I hope to see you there. In case you have these questions, you have the opportunity to ask your questions, get intuitive insight, and also you have the ability to apply for a free intuitive analysis where I can give you advice and guidance on what next steps to take and what maybe has been blocking the success or the things that you have been trying to create. Anyways, beautiful, I appreciate you being here every single time, and I look forward to seeing you or in the next episode or in one of the webinars. Have a wonderful rest of your day, evening, or night. Thank you so much for listening to You Can Call Me Goddess. I am so happy that you joined us in this show today. If you feel like this podcast gave you any sort of life change or value, then share it with someone you think would also get a lot of value out of it, because maybe it could just be that one thing that changes that person's life. If you enjoyed the show, please give it a nice rating below or in the show, because we would love to expand more on topics that you enjoy and keep this podcast up and running. Anyways, thank you, beautiful, and I hope to see you in the next podcast.